Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video. And yeah, we're in a crop of sunflowers, as you can see. This is the wild bird mix on the farm. I thought we ought to go and have a look at what's happening with that, because we've had a lot of rain recently and everything's sparked into life. I'm going to discuss a CLA survey that I found the results of just quite shocking, just saying what's happening with agriculture in the UK, explain what's happening on the farm. September is an interesting month, sort of the pause before all the action starts. We finished harvest and we haven't quite put the next crop in. And then just have a look at the woodland, what we're going to do there. I've had the report back. I'm very grateful to the Forestry Commission. I'll go into the details of that. But first of all, let's just have a look in here and what we've got growing. Yeah, the wild bird mix, I was a bit worried about this mix because it went in, obviously, this year and it was very dry. But yeah, you can see the millet, it's all started to come back to life. We've still got sunflowers still flowering, while others are sort of starting to mature. A lot of seed heads, you just see the seeds sort of forming here. There's canola in here, there's all sorts of mix. It's hard to pick out exactly what I put in the ground. I've seen some barley in here as well. There's fat in, which I'm not quite sure if that's self-seeding and just in the field or not, but it's all wild bird mix, and that's the idea. And this area in here is about 5 acres of this, and this is in the stewardship that started in 24. So this will be wild bird mix in this field for the next 5 years, but I will replant it each year. It's just impressive seeing these enormous heads. These will fall over. They will, as they sort of mature, they'll go down, and wild birds will be able to get them like that as well. But there's still, like this sunflower is just trying to flower, just coming up, and the little one here as well. All sorts of sizes. Some of them are multi-heads as well. There's various varieties. I didn't realise. Yeah, you see that one? Sort of multi-head, sort of puts a load up. These have got to get a bit of a move on because I think it's the 14th of September today, so I'm not quite sure how far they'll go. But anyway, it's all good to see, and it's quite fun growing a crop like this. It's a bit mad putting this wild bird mix is, but it's just fun growing these alternative sort of species on the farm rather than straightforward wheat and barley growing like that. You can just see the millet coming through here. It's quite late, some of this millet. It's obviously had a sort of second wind because of the amount of rain we've had. Yeah, we have had a lot of rain. I was looking at the numbers of what we've had, and in the last 2 weeks we've had 65 mil of rain, and we're due another 11 mil this afternoon. It's just starting to spot with rain at the moment. So yeah, 76 mil of rain potentially by the end of today, and that just compares to 56 mil for the 4 months of March, April, May and June. The main growing months, 56 mil, and then 76 mil in the last 2 weeks. So completely different. That is the trouble with the weather. We're all concerned when this drought actually broke, it would properly rain, and it seems to be doing a bit of that. It's every day rather than a really big storm. Right, let's go and have a look at some cows I've just got down here. Now, it's one of my favourite fields. This is a grass field, stepstone grass it's called, and it's undulating, and it's down with these woods surrounding it. And yeah, there's 4 cattle in here. So what are these doing here? Well, it's quite sad really, because these cattle, the cull cows out of the herd, cull, they'll be going off for slaughter in a few weeks' time. And what has happened is they've picked up a parasite, neosporosis, and affects cattle, and if they have it, then they abort calves. They're pregnant, they get pregnant, and then midway near the end of the pregnancy they start aborting and you lose the calf. And you always then check, why did the cow actually abort, and if it comes back on the blood test it's this neosporosis, then they have to go. And they get it from feces, dog feces, and it's quite common if you've got cattle and you've got a footpath going through your land, this is an issue. And there's nothing you can do with it. And once they have it, that's it. They will always abort a calf. If they get pregnant, they will abort. And the danger is, if they do get to term or they do abort in a field and another cow gets onto the afterbirth, that cow will get infected as well. So you just have to cull the cows out of the herd. Once you know they're infected, they're down the road, unfortunately, because they're no good as breeding cattle, and they have the danger of then infecting the rest of the herd. So it's just a message: if you walk your dogs through the countryside and you're in grass fields, please pick up the feces. Even if they have a poo right over there, this is the danger. And some of the reasons as theories why dogs carry it, they think there's a link with raw food. So if they're eating raw food, or you're feeding raw food, or they're picking up wild dead things, that's how the dogs can then start carrying it, and then the feces is in the feces, and then a cow might touch the feces or something in the field, and this is what happens. So anyway, let's go on to better things. Let's go and have a look at the woodland and what's happening up there. Okay, so we've been down here before, and this is the area where I'm looking to plant all the new woodland, and that is expanding this woodland here, which we call Devil's Wood. It's a very narrow strip, and I want to beef it out, and I want to bring it into the field here. And this field, Flagstaff Arable it's called, has this peculiar bit of sliver of wall that comes out, this narrow bit of wall here that just stops there, and it's completely useless because it's an arable field. It's never going to be built up. And much as I would like to repair this bit of wall, it serves no purpose at all, apart from having margin either side, a 4 or 5 metre margin that's been in, so we must have put this in about 2005, and it's actually growing some really quite interesting plants and flowers. We're at the wrong time of year. They're all, as you can see, gone to seed, but it does look really good during the summer months. And this wall, I just think it's something to note in the Cotswolds. All these walls were constructed from the stone from the fields right here. So it was a stone picked out, and then a wall was constructed. And this is one of the finest stone walls on the farm. And I don't mean finest in smart, I mean the tiniest stones, the slivers. It's almost like slate, how tight the stones are, really small, and an utter nightmare to build. It takes a huge amount of effort to put this wall up, because instead of having a chunky stone that's normally 5-10 times bigger than that, and then the wall quickly builds up, with this super fine stone, it takes forever to build up. So unfortunately, we have not repaired this, because the man hours to repair this would be through the roof. Now, the woodland. They came down and had the report back from the Forestry Commission, which I'm extremely grateful for. Really comprehensive, really interesting. And the overall thing we're doing, at the moment, we've only got around 3 hectares, 3.1 hectares of wood on the farm. And we're looking to put a further 5 hectares in, and the majority is bringing this out here. It's not very productive ground, it drops down that side, and I just want to beef out this wood here. And it's great that the mix we're allowed to do will include some of the native trees we have in here. There's predominantly beech and there's oak up the far side. There are some ash and there are some pines here, but we won't be we're putting mainly deciduous trees in, hazel, all sorts of things. But I'm not going to rush this. I did look at getting an approval within a few weeks and might have made it possible to plant some trees this winter, but I'm going to delay it a year. And we're aiming at 2026 planting into 27. And we'll be it's about 2,000 trees a hectare-ish either side. So 5 hectares, about 10,000 trees will be going in this area, mainly this area, and then I've got another hectare and a bit just going over the other side. And part of the reason for doing the delay is this new farming era we're in, and I want to do a carbon audit on the farm. Natural carbon sequestration, that's what trees do, is what grassland does. And what you need to know is your position right now, and then if you improve by putting trees in things, then you have a gain. And this weird world we're in and net zero, but to be able to offer and show that you're absorbing carbon, I think will have a reward in the future. But the first thing you have to do is do a carbon audit right now of where you are, and then everything is up. And if I plant the trees first before doing a carbon audit, it all goes a bit haywire. So that's what we're doing here. But yeah, so we're going to crop this another year. This is going into wheat, so the subsoiler has gone in. We've had all this moisture, and I'm now just starting to we've had enough rain to actually make this clay. It's just workable at the moment, but it doesn't want too much more rain before we go in here and drill. The other thing, I've just got to look, that's not black grass, that is a black grass. Yeah, we're just getting, all this rain has actually set off some of the seeds, dormant in the soil, and we'll be looking at doing that. This field isn't too bad. We'll have a look at another one that is growing quite a lot of black grass, and we'll go in with glyphosate to get that off before drilling. Anyway, let's head off, have another look at an area on the farm. Now, this field, we did arable reversion on this field in 2007, 6, 7. So this was in arable, it is now in grass, and we put some trees in as well. And I just love the trees. They're specimen trees, sort of individual trees, rather than a woodland, to give a sort of park feel. And I can't get over how well they've done. This is an oak. So this is about 18, 19 years this has been in. And it's now, we've managed to take the protection around it. It doesn't get chewed, it's ramrod straight. I can actually see, we get quite a lot. If you just come and have a look here. One of the things we have here is woodpeckers. And you can just see woodpecker damage just on the tree. Suddenly here in the morning, quite a sharp knock. And they're just trying to get grubs out, aren't they, of that. But they prefer a dead tree. They're struggling on this oak, but it must have something in it. So I'm going to expand and put more trees in like this further down, and it's just one of the things I want to do. And together with all the fencing, we're going to protect the stone wall. We've got a really good stone wall. We're going to put some fencing there. I did get a part of the stewardship capital grant to do it that covers around 30-40% of the cost, but I'm just going to do it because I love the stone wall. I want to preserve it, and it's an investment for 10 years, 20 years hence. And I mentioned that CLA survey, Country Landowners Association, and yeah, what came back shows the agriculture in the UK is not in the best of health, which you probably guess from what's going on and Mr. Clarkson and Clarkson Farm and things, what he's been saying. But they came back, and the one that I take away from it was 80% of the people surveyed believe their farms won't survive the next decade. That's how bad it's got. And I sort of, I've alluded to it on this video, trying a positive spin, but it's hard after 3 years of losses on the farm. But it is really getting tough on farm. The returns aren't there. The environment we're farming in with the current government doesn't feel at all supportive. And people are just stopped and they think, well, how do we carry on? And another one from the survey, 60% of the farmer survey considering leaving the industry altogether. And 90% have delayed investment on the farm. And I can see why you would. With the returns of where you are, if you haven't got a profitable business, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And yet, I think British agriculture is critical to what British is all about. Why do people come to the Cotswolds? Why do they go to the Lake District? Why do they go down to Devon? It's the environment, it's just the British countryside, and for generations, and we've just taken it for granted really, how nature looks. It's all actually man-managed. It's not man-made as such, but it's man-managed. And we currently have people in power who don't seem to recognise it and the importance of the fabric of the UK. And I worry when I see the results of that CLA survey. I'm taking a slightly different view because I think it's so important to the country that it is a blip. It's just where we are at the moment, and there will be a backlash coming in 2 or 3 years' time when people realise just how important the British countryside, food production and everything agriculture does for the UK becomes apparent. So that is why I'm continuing to invest. I'm putting the fencing in, I'm putting woodland in. Yes, I'm reducing the amount I'm farming, but I'm doing it to enhance the countryside. I want to put these trees in. You might think in everything I do, wow, what's the things I really remember? And it's, yes, I enjoy the drives in the Pagani and out in the Tuscan hills and things, but I suppose the most things I'm most proud of are like these trees we've put in, the hedgerows we've done, this arable reversion, the putting that fencing around, the estate fencing around the house, all those things that just enhance the British countryside and give the look. That's what I enjoy. That's why I'm going to continue farming and doing these videos. So there you go. There's a background of what's going on Harry's farm. The next one will be back into production. There'll be tractors roaring around because it's time to put the wheat in, and we're just loading the last bits of wheat out the shed as well. But we're start of another season, but that's for next time. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing. Audio's coming along very soon.